It's the best podcast in the world. This is going to end up on the show. I know it, motherfucker.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a special episode of Epitome of Stupidity, your favorite allegedly metal podcast. Today we are going to focus on and talk about a Columbus summer favorite, the Blockout Bash, with one Joel Chastain. Intro music by a new band that will be performing for the first time at the Bash. This is one Skin Diet, a band full of staples from other local bands here in Columbus, and their song Manifesto will play in full at the end of the episode, along with another song from a Blockout Bash performer, one Cali Dreamer. If you're new here, welcome in. If you're a returning listener, thanks for coming back, and my undying pledge to you to not do better continues to be upheld. One thing that is always better, though, is mead from Brimming Horn. Get you some by going to brimminghornmeadery.com, selecting some deliciousness that they will send right to your fucking door. And at checkout, use code EPITOME for a 10% discount. It's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year round, Clark. What am I listening to lately? I'm glad you asked. Lots of Poison the Well, kind of randomly. Typo Negative, because who doesn't love a summer scent of Typo? Based on a friend of mine finally getting into them and texting me nonstop about how great they are. I know, Sam. They're awesome. Burst, and you know what? I listened to a lot of STP here recently because I got to go see them last night here in Columbus. I know the new guy isn't Scott Weiland, but you know what? He sounds pretty good. As a matter of fact, this is not what I have written here. They played an hour 15, and the one song that guy sounded bad on was the one fucking song that he wrote and sang on originally. It was fucking ridiculous. Other than that, it was kind of weird that he actually tries to look and act like Scott Weiland.
Duval?
No, that's Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains.
This is Jeff Glute, I think is his name. Where was it here? Anyways, other than that, he did a damn good job and sounds really great. Also of note here, if all goes as planned, one of those bands that I mentioned will be on the next show. I'll let you deduce which one it is, and I'll go ahead and tell you it's not Poison the Well. I reached out to them and got a quick, they are not doing anything this year, maybe next year, so, fucking fingers crossed. Now, usually at this point, I'll give a little background on the guest and then make a fucking fake phone call to him. But since my guest today, again, one Joel Chastain, as you can see on the video, if you're watching the video, is here with me. He is the founder of the aforementioned Blockout Bash. So instead of making the fake phone call, I'm just going to turn it over to him and ask you the standard first question of all these things. What are you listening to lately?
So the past couple of days, I purchased Cheer by Drug Church off of their Bandcamp. Been a fan of them for a while. Tom Butler, former DJ of Columbus's late great independent radio station and a member of the aforementioned Skin Diet.
Connecting all the dots.
Yeah. Kind of turned me on to them a while ago. I've been mainly listening to them through Spotify, but I can't stand Spotify. I try to buy music from bands as much as possible. I totally advocate Bandcamp, even if they got bought by a fucking gaming corporation or whatever. So I bought Cheer. It was $5 holler on Bandcamp. Put it on the phone, been blasting in the car. It's great. He can't remember the dude's name off the top of my head.
Make it up.
But the singer is like he reminds me a lot of, somewhere between like Mike Ness and the dude from Helmet. He's got this real gravelly voice. His lyrics are brilliant. They're dark. But they're also very humorous at the same time. There's a lot of
Speaking of Typo Negative.
right? Ghost, my kid and I have found our favorite lyric in one of the songs is push your sister's boyfriend down the stairs. And it happens during this pause in the music, and we like wait the 2 beats, and then we both go, push your sister's boyfriend down the stairs.
Bonding.
Yeah. On the way to Taekwondo on Thursday. It was amazing. But yeah, Drug Church, Dead Runes, these guys are Nashville. They played with Blessed Black.
Sure, absolutely.
A while back at Space Bar. I worked the show, and I really like Blessed Black. Those guys are fucking dope.
I think they've been mentioned here before. I know I got on a kick with them before.
Yeah, I mean, well, you and I talked about it a while ago.
Yeah,
too.
at one point in time we were trying to set up a show between. Anyway, keep going.
Dead Runes was. I had no idea they were. That was the first time I met them, saw them, whatever. These boys kicked ass. Really loved their stage presence. And so I went on Bandcamp and I bought their music. And as much as it's different than what they present on stage, because I have no idea what their set list is on stage. I don't know how many EPs or albums they're drawing from.
Sure.
To make the set list, but really wanted a new record, jamming that in the car. It's really good. It's got a lot of different things going for it. What else we listened to? I was blasting Turnstile in the car today with the family on the way to the farmer's market.
I feel like you're doing family right. Yeah, is what we're getting around to, Joel.
We're working on it, trying real hard.
I feel like you guys are doing it right.
I mean, the kid had went to a band camp. It used to be called Girls Rock Columbus, I believe. Now it's called Tempo. It was week long. Brought their guitar and their amp, and day 2, pick them up, and it's, hey, Dad, I know chords and all this stuff. Like, they actually know how to play guitar, or know the basics of playing guitar.
Sure, right.
They had the kids form bands, and then they wrote a song, rehearsed it all week, like practiced their instruments, went to music class, and it was Sunday through Saturday, and on Saturday was the concert, and so all parents and families and like friends and stuff showed up, and it was really good, and of course, this is gonna sound biased, but I'm gonna try to make it not sound biased. Everybody was great. It's really, I mean, I've been in bands for like 20 years,
right?
Man.
Sure.
I mean, like rock bands playing, local venues. I've been in bands since I was in 7th grade. I was in jazz band, concert band, things like that. Getting on stage in front of people is like, it's never an easy thing.
Yeah. Especially those first couple times.
Dude, no. But so I was impressed with everybody getting up there, playing these songs. It was really good. Then their band comes up. They decided to name the band Country Cats.
Okay.
All I could think of was Country Bears the whole time. But I'm like, what kind of music is it? And they're like, well, you'll find out. They're like, it's kind of punk. I was like, oh, okay. And they come on, and this is 4-piece, and they just destroy. I talk a lot.
Sweet.
I was speechless.
Nice.
My friend sitting next to me, she like punches me in the shoulder. She goes, book them right now. And I mean, yeah, it was really impressive. It was great. I mean, proud dad moments aside, it's just like, it was good. It was real good. And I was like, holy shit. This is what they could do in a week? Come on.
There's
hope.
Fucking
dope.
There's hope for the youth yet.
Yeah. So, we spent a lot of time. One of my kids' favorite things to do is to ride in the car and listen to music. So we do a lot of that. And I try to keep the music library, the collection fresh. So we're constantly kind of dipping our toes into new stuff, discovering new artists, new to us, at least. I know Turnstile's been around for a long time, and I didn't ever hear them until I heard Holiday from Glow On. Right. I'm late to the fucking party. I don't give a shit. I love that record. Really like the band. Love the energy. Love the performance. There's a YouTube channel called Hate 56, I believe.
Yeah.
They show a lot of like hardcore shows, things like that. That's where I saw Drug Church do their first performance. Like first seeing them. They're coming to town. Ace of Cups, November.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw that.
Yeah, and I'm stoked, and now like the kids stoked too. I haven't checked to see if it's all ages or not. My 14-year-old might be let down.
Shit out of luck.
A little disappointed. But yeah, that's listen to that. Listening to one of my new favorite all-time bands, Leeds UK, Static Dress.
Yeah.
They are the shit. I mean, like, I love really like kinetic not complicated, sophisticated is not the word I want to use, but you know, like I love things like the Blood Brothers. I love all that weird jangly. We're gonna mash everything up and make it super hard to listen to, post-hardcore kind of stuff. Static Dresses, insane, just so fucking good. The Rouge Carpet Disaster record is just awesome.
I think they used to be a prosthetic band. I almost had them on the show one time. I think I could be mixing my.
They did a bunch of festivals this past year. They were in town at King of Clubs as one of the with them and CU Space Cowboy were the opening acts for Nothing Nowhere, and then they played Aftershock in Sacramento that fall, and they're coming back around. They're the opening act for Under Oath.
Isn't that also at King of Clubs?
No, that's at Kemba or Newport.
Is it?
Yeah, it's coming up in the fall too. I think that's September and November.
Oh yeah, no, I'm mixing that. Okay, yeah, sure, keep going.
Yeah, because there's some Helmet, who I touched on earlier, and Local H are coming to King of Clubs. Yeah, Bravo artists, fucking free advertising, right?
Take it where you can get it.
But yeah, no, there's just stuff that's been in rotation constantly.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, it's, of course, I listen to a lot of music because we booked what 30 acts for this thing.
From that into what made you want to start doing this in the first place?
Oh man. Well, okay, so
this is year 2, right?
We're actually gonna. It is technically last year. I would call it like you can tell I've been working in like the corporate sphere too long when I call something a pilot program. Last year
we're for sure going to count it because I've got a bunch of questions lined up based on this year versus that year.
Last year year 1 was 2 days in a row at Space Bar. We leaned heavily into heavy music. This is year 2, but we'll step back. We're going to step back because I was thinking about how I knew you were going to ask this question, which is great. But I was thinking about it this morning. How I was going to answer
it's the most obvious question.
When did it? 2017. My initial concept idea of this was I love the Toronto Jazz Fest. It's
did not see that reference coming.
Well, I'm a jazz trained musician who plays in non-jazz bands.
You know what? Based on seeing you play the drums, that just fucking clicked. It made all the sense it possibly could.
So I love jazz and the history of it, and Buddy Rich and Count Basie, Duke Ellington, all that kind of big band stuff that I was raised and trained on.
Wait for it. All that jazz. Here a week, folks.
So the Toronto Jazz Fest is I think it's about a week long, and it's like the whole city, dog. There's venues, there's jazz clubs and there's theaters, things like that, but all the little bars and restaurants, and they're apart, and everybody's playing and having gigs all the time. It's the whole fucking city, or at least I that's what I'd like to think.
Sure.
I want to go one day. I've never been to Canada. Love to go on tour and play with the fine peoples of Canada. But so I was thinking of something like that, something that would, how do we, in a non-cringe, thank you, Gen Z, non-corny sort of way, how do we take a lot of Columbus music scene and kind of put it together, make a cool thing out of it? Initially I was I was thinking that it would be Summit and Cafe Bourbon Street. So years ago, a little bit more backstory too. There was a band that plays from time to time now, called Red Sun. Okay. 2 of the members of Red Sun play in Matter of Planets. Roger.
Joel's band.
I play in 2 bands, Matter of Planets and Rooks. There's another guy from Red Sun named Zach Germanic. Zach plays in Pillars and TV Drugs. But back in the day, they booked a 10-year anniversary show, and we utilized, or I had no part in booking it. I just played it. So it was Bourbon Street and Summit. And
Nailed it.
whoops. And they staggered the bands, and the lineup was killer. Sistered, Big Pigwan, I think that's how you pronounce their band. Red Sun, Before the Eye Wall, Matter of Planets, a couple others. And I love the idea of using those two venues that was next to each other and kind of like staggering things, and you could go back and forth and stuff was always happening. So initially the thought was Bourbon Street, Summit, and then we'd head north, and you'd have, maybe we'd include Ruby Tuesdays, I'm not sure, but we definitely do like Rumba Cafe and Rambling House. You go down Hudson to get the High Street, and then this is well before Dirty Dungarees started having shows. It was just a laundromat with a bar in it.
Which is, but anyways, Penn and Dirty Dungarees.
We'll get to that later. But it would include, Space Bar and Bossy Girl and Ace of Cups. And so I remember having this idea and writing a general outline of it and sending an email to Brian Ostrander, who's the manager of Space Bar, and Jeff Kleinman at the time. Jeff was living in Columbus, and he was booking Bourbon Street and Summit, and possibly at the time booking Ace of Cups, or at least some of Ace of Cups too. And I wanted to get like the pedicab people involved, and they could like truck you to up and down in the neighborhood, and you'd have a wristband, and it'd get you into everywhere. And it was met with general good feelings, but also a lot of caution,
trepidation.
Yeah. Like, ooh, there's a lot of stuff to work out there. So as time went on, kept thinking about this, kept talking about this, and the last time I put it out into the world, I think was like the spring of 2019. And I put it on Facebook, and a bunch of people were like, "Oh yeah, let's do this. We'll all like help you out with it and stuff." And so we were kind of I was sitting down with some people here and there and putting some ideas together, and then the world closed in April 2020.
Sure.
So that fucked everything up.
That kind of throws everything in reverse.
And by that time too, the landscape of especially North Campus, also known as Old North Columbus, had changed. Dirty Dungarees, the laundromat, had become
a venue.
And they were hosting punk, hardcore show. Well, hadn't quite gotten to that. They were just kind of doing whatever at the time, and it wasn't like super busy. So if you needed a venue last minute for your buddies who are on tour and their show didn't happen at wherever because it was double booked or this and that, you could hit up Dirties and be like, "Yo, can I book something?" They'd be like, "Yeah." And
I've got amps. Do you have outlets?
Right. I had to do that for Nick Burks one time. But so by that time everything had started to change, and I had been working with Comfest for a while, doing stuff with Off Ramp Stage, and booking my own bands and booking tours and working at Space Bar and booking stuff at Space Bar and trying to help everybody out that needed to be helped out and making stuff happen for myself. I think you and I met around that time initially.
That makes sense.
But yeah, man, it was like I finally got to this point where it's like, fuck it, let's see what happens. So what last year was 2023. So this has been February 2023. I sent an email to Brian Ostrander and the owner of Space Bar outlining what I wanted to do last year. And I was like, I want 2 nights, 2 nights in a row. And I want to book like 6-7 bands a day. And we'll like do them. It's going to be Blockout Bash. I always wanted to call it Blockout Bash because it'd be on the block. But it's kind of like, and it's a party. Well, initially it was Blockout Fest. I got to give Adam Hardy full credit for the bash part of it. So I was like, Fest. Everybody calls it Fest,
sure.
So let's stop festival. Like he was like, bash. It's a party. And I was like, yeah, cool.
I like parties.
So there you go, Adam. Let's see. Let's step back a little bit. Yeah, it was also a little bit as inspired by and giving credit to Kenny Royer. Some of you may know him online as Dick Pontius. He is
sure.
Former drummer of Goose, the Ravenna Arsenal, 200 Black Bears on the Horizon. Real good buddy from the Northeast Ohio, heavy music family. Kenny put on this event for 10 years called the Blockout, the Blackout Cookout. Started first time I went, it was at the Outpost Concert Club in Kent, Ohio. Yeah. The lineup was fucking stacked, man. Great Iron Snake, Low Pan, like just fuck you, pay me. That's when I met Tony Erba the first time. Man's running around like smashing trash cans on things, doing like his whole pro wrestler gimmick. Tony's a badass dude. But I've met a lot of people through that. It was really cool. Matter of Planets got asked to play a couple of times. We got asked to play the inaugural year. It was held at the West Side Bowl in Youngstown, which, if you don't know the West Side Bowl, it is a bowling alley.
Right.
That, let's say, a third to half of the lanes were torn up, refurbished to build a stage, and refurbished the patio out front. There's this big like floor area, and it's dope. It's so cool.
So if you're keeping track at home, you're playing the home game, as it's said sometimes. So far, we've talked about a laundromat that is a venue, and we've just referenced a bowling alley that is also a venue.
They have two venues. They've got one in the basement, then one on the main floor, and they make amazing pizza.
Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
He wins.
And that year, we played with Big Business and Ken Mode were headliners, and it was just, it was tits, man. So being inspired by Kenny's massive body of work in the name, I was like, well, I can't call it Blackout because, like,
sure,
shit, I can't bite him that much.
Right.
But it's a block party. Blockout. So we got there. We got there with the name. We started putting stuff together. I made a list in 23, this short list of bands. And basically within the first week that I asked everybody, like, people coming back right away with, yeah, we want to do that. Horseburner came in, Maharaja, Rattlesnake Venom Trip. Yeah. Fucking Averst came all the way from Boston. Love those cats, man.
I was there that day.
They are amazing. Star Viper came from Pittsburgh. Shout out John. Shout out Jake the Hawk, one of John's former bands.
I think that was the same fucking day because I got their koozie around.
Yeah, they're great. We had Hollow. We had a shit ton of bands over 2 days. We had Before the Eyewall making their triumphant return.
I remember.
I'm sorry, Garrett, Aaron, that might be a little bit out of school. Maybe you did something before that, but I'm gonna say it's your triumphant return to the stage of Ohio heavy music. But it was stacked. It was awesome. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot of stuff. It did not go as perfectly as I wanted, but everybody got paid. I took care of all my responsibilities. I gotten all these shirts made. Shout out to Roach T-shirts on Hudson. Brian Peterson's good dude. They make great stuff. No fault of his. I overestimated the value or the desire for those things. Made a bunch of shit that nobody bought. So if you come to Blockout Bash this year, there might be Blockout Bash shirts from last year at a heavy discount.
Fucking buy one.
There might be some other party favors and stickers and the like, and I know some of y'all like to party, so let's get down.
That's why it's a bash.
But we learned a lot last year. We had a really good time. I look back at it and I call it a pilot program. It was a prototype. It's like, how do we do this? And I had this great sit down with Andy Downing of Matter News. He's fucking fantastic. He's done like Back with the Alive, the Columbus Alive. He did write-ups for Matter of Planets. He interviewed us a couple of times. Andy is so good at taking these massive ramblings, because man, I have been on like 50 segues from like a main narrative here. And Andy can take them and parse them into a coherent thing. It's so fucking cool.
We'll go ahead and skip to the end here and say, I'm not going to edit a lot of this.
Please don't.
Wish granted.
But we did a lot of that. We had a great initial response to what it was. People came. We learned a lot, and folks asked me if I was going to do it again. And I said, well, yeah. I can't just give up after, a thing that was good but wasn't like spectacular. Like you've got to grow somehow.
Sure, first fucking
so,
swing.
I ran into one of the first things to do was to expand the organizational committee, if you like. Brian Baker.
It's serious because he went deep voice.
Brian Baker and Adam Hardy were a great help in first year. So we expanded the group, and James Garcia, Brian Kosman, and Ty Owen have also been very helpful in, helping me find bands and put this on and making suggestions and, helping get it to the point where we're less than a month out and we're going to have it. Here's the rundown for Blockout Bash this year, 2024. It is one day, Saturday, August 24th. It is in the Old North neighborhood, the Block, where you hang out in the Old North Columbus. It's 6 venues. It's Dirty Dungarees. It's Space Bar. It's Bossy Girl Pinup Joint. It's the Old North Arcade. It's Records Per Minute Record Store, and it's Ace of Cups.
Okay, hang on a second. Let's run back through these venues and give them just a little bit, just the cliffest of cliff notes.
Okay.
So starting with Space Bar.
Okay, so Space Bar is in its 10th year of being open. It is a rock and roll bar.
It is fucking loud.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's loud. It's loud.
Next one.
Let's do Dirty Dungarees next because it's
Dirty
right next
Dungarees,
door.
sure.
Dirty Dungarees, as aforementioned, it is a fucking laundromat that has this room next to the bar where it's this little room and it hosts shows. And they host a lot of hardcore, punk, grindcore shit, things like that. It's an all ages place for the most part, so you get this really cool, high energy young crowd, and they fucking mix it up.
And not to overstate the obvious here, but you can literally do your laundry at this show.
Exactly.
The
laundry, have a beer, and like pick up change with your friends in the audience if you know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm such an asshole. You're allowed to throw elbows in that place, have a beer, and do your laundry.
Fuck yeah. The fun fact, the first time I went to Dirty Dungarees was to see Howling Giant as they were coming through. I think Bridesmaid played there that same night.
Okay.
And I was talking to the guy through Magnetic Eye or Blues Funeral, whichever. I get the two intertwined and confused.
Magnetic Eye.
Yeah. He sent me a message saying, okay, cool, you're going to the show. I'll let them know that you're on the list. And I thought, fucking cool, I'm on the list.
Then you get there.
And I get there, and Zach, the drummer for Howling Giant, who's just fucking great.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
He meets me outside. He says, hey, man, they told me that you're on the list, but there is no list.
There's no list.
It's a donation show.
Yeah. So also what's great about Dirty Dungarees is a lot of the shows are run like old school punk house shows. You show up, there is they're a business. They have a door person who's kind of keeping the peace and stuff, but it's there's a donation, there's pay as you can, there you buy fucking merch from bands.
Sure.
It's very cool. It has its they just like any of these rock bars. There are ups and downs. There are bad actors in the scene sometimes. Right. Dumb bullshit.
So that gets us through Space Bar and Dirty Dungarees. What's next?
Let's move on to Bossy Girl's Pinup Joint.
Sure.
So Bossy Girl is the neighbor on the other side of Space Bar. It is a long-running burlesque bar.
Yeah.
They do a lot.
This is why, for those of you listening that aren't Columbus-centric, I wanted him to go through these because some of these venues are really fucking interesting. Not to mention the laundromat that we've already referenced a couple times.
Bossy Girl Pinup Joint is a burlesque bar. They do lots of obviously burlesque performances. Sure. They have karaoke. They do comedy. They do all kinds of different stuff, and they were kind enough to allow us to include them this year. It had always been the plan, but what were we going to put there? We touched on Cali Dreamer a little bit ago. They are going to play there. There's going to be a number of really, really cool artists doing different stuff. Space Bar, we're going to have very rock-centric rock acts.
Sure.
Bossy Girl, you're going to get something very different. Very different. There's kind of one person noise guitar driven stuff. There's gonna be electronic acts. There's gonna be one full band. That's the only full band that's gonna play there. They're gonna play there last, but a lot of different interesting, cool stuff. And that's what was so nice about that space, is we can kind of mix it up. But with the nature of the venue and being a very LGBTQ queer friendly spot, we want to let's get a little into the weeds about this stuff too, because I want to touch on, before we get to the other three venues, I want to touch on how last year, we leaned heavily into heavy music.
Sure.
One of the things about expanding the committee this year was what I told Andy Downing in the article, was that going forward, we want to diversify the music. I don't want this to be a metal festival. I don't want this to be an indie. This isn't even a Columbus festival. This is a music festival bash that happens in this neighborhood.
Sure.
And it could be whatever it's going to be. So we've really like broadened the horizon of, what we're bringing. I mean, we only have really a couple of what I would classify as heavy adjacent bands
right
this year. We're giving people a lot of different things. I think that's really important to talk about. And that whole lineup, all 30 acts, you're getting a whole bunch of different shit. And hopefully you'll find a whole bunch of stuff that you really like. And that you want to go home, that you want to jam in your car. Maybe you'll find your new favorite artist, your new favorite band, or what the fuck ever. Okay, that being said, let's jump to the other side of the street. We will start the south end of the block, closest to the light at Hudson.
So we've done Dirty Dungarees, we've done Spacebar, we've done Bossy Girls. Now we're jumping to
Records Per Minute, aka RPM. It is a record store. It's one of my favorite record stores in Columbus, which there are many.
There are more than you would think, yes.
But now it's not the time to talk about that. But yeah, it's a record store. We will be having artists playing record store. There will be some noise acts, and there will be several solo acts. All they're all amazing. The closer is, I gotta talk about him because I can't not talk about him, is Sean Gardner. And a Sean Gardner solo set with just him and a fucking guitar and singing is one of my favorite things. It's a great joy in my life.
Nice.
I'm so stoked that he said yes to doing it. So it's a record store. They have a business. You can go there and buy records on the day of this bash and watch a bunch of really talented musicians and artists play. So do that. If we head a couple of doors up the street, we will arrive at Old North Arcade. It is affectionately known as a barcade. It's an arcade that's free for the most part, with a bar.
Fun fact, when you and I first met over there at Spacebar talking about this stuff, and I went across the street to the arcade, I was A, well into my cups, and B, well into playing video games before I realized I don't have to put coins in any of these, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah, man. So like all the arcade cabinets. And hold on, let me see if this search my feelings. I know it to be true. Yeah, so like all the arcade cabinets are free.
Right.
Pinball, costs money, air hockey,
sure.
Guitar Hero, and a couple other things. But other than that, they have fucking the Sega Spider-Man arcade cabinet, which is one of my favorite arcade games of all time. I mean, you can be Spider-Man, Hawkeye, Namor, or Black Cat, maybe? I don't know. But it's awesome. I'm
interested to see how that gets transformed into a venue.
So what we're doing is that's all DJs.
Okay.
That day. DJ Dynamo and Mimi Dramette, who are the minds behind the Vortex event. So Vortex is a First Fridays event at Spacebar. It's like a dark wave 80s vinyl night.
Okay.
I used to call it goth night for old people. Cause, and Dan, DJ Dynamo and Mimi are amazing people. They have, they'll theme it. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they will theme it. They often theme nights. So they have like, they're going to play music that is under this kind of banner of something. They might do that. They might not. They might just, pump out the jams.
Check out the jams.
Rip Roarin' Lauren is going to be our opening DJ, and it's all vinyl, and they're all going to, fucking spin records, man. And they're going to be out on the back patio of Old North Arcade. And they'll be spinning until 8 o'clock, I think. And then we're going to start pretty early there. I think if memory serves, the first DJ goes on at 2:30, and everybody's got like hour sets or something like that. They'll be under like an easy up out back, kind of facing the parking lot, and they'll be doing their thing. And then you can hang out at the arcade. You can bring your kids, things like that. And it'll be dope. And then let's go north on the block on the same side of the street, and we can amble our way across Duncan, and we will arrive at Ace of Cups.
The legendary
Ace of Cups is one of my favorite rooms I've ever played.
And that's the thing that is said by not just locals, but who was it? There was I think it was Christian from Horace telling me about how much he loves that.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, I forgot you talked to him recently, because I remember you telling me, and I lost my damn mind.
Yeah. the people remember that room.
Hell yeah. And I mean, the stage, like the white and black, it's the, is it the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks, or it's the place where they go and everybody talks backwards. Stuff like that. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
But it's a big ass room. It's got a great bar. It's got a big old patio out back. There's some Ray's barbecue pit. Yum, yum, yum.
Everybody loves food.
Yeah, man. Maybe even by that time. Now, this is all hearsay, what I'm about to say, because I have no idea if it'll be true or not. I know that Dirty Frank's Hot Dogs
I saw that.
Coming to Ace of Cups. And they're having a coffee joint.
And who doesn't love a wiener and some coffee?
Yeah, right. I don't know if they'll be like open by the time this happens, but hopefully it'd be dope if we could get like hot dogs and short ribs or pulled pork at Blockout Bash.
The jokes make themselves here.
Yeah, right. But it's a great room. It's a great spot. People that run it are good people. They'll be having, I believe they're going to have some patio bands on the back patio that are booked outside of Blockout Bash.
Okay.
That'll kind of like do the run up that day. But those are the 3 venues. We have 5 acts per venue. That's 6 venues. Do that math. That's 30 acts.
I was told there'd be no math.
Well, I did it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So nobody's asking shit
you're
from
very,
you, man.
You're very considerate.
It's a ticketed event. Technically, only 3 of the venues are ticketed: Bossy Girl, Space Bar, and Ace of Cups. There's a barrier to entry. You can buy advanced tickets through the Blockout_Bash Instagram.
Links will be in the show description.
Yeah. But I think it's important to note that you can, bring your kids to Old North Arcade and hang out and like leave them to hang, with Auntie whatever while you,
Absolutely.
Have your wristband and you want to go to Space Bar or Ace of Cups and go see some bands and then come back. I want people from far and wide to come down and get a good taste of what we've got. And I'm really excited. I'm really nervous, dog. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is huge, and I mean, of course, we're talking about what we're gonna do next year, and blah blah blah. And are we gonna have outdoor stages? Are we gonna get some of these businesses with parking lots to let us use our parking lot? Are we gonna get food trucks? Are we gonna do this and that? And I'm like, yeah. And on my good days, when I am up and I am feeling really good about this, I'm like, fuck yeah. And I'm writing notes. I'm making lists of bands. I'm like, who do I want to play next year and all this shit. And then the next day I'm like, oh my God, is anybody actually going to come?
Oh my God. Does anybody like me? Okay, look, as an old guy, I want to say, first of all, setting up parking gets me fucking excited. Other than that, the immediate follow-up here for me is something that I have typed out here, and that to kind of lead into that, with, last year going into this year, banging aside, is there, like, how much of your time does this take up? Is there, like, day of the show, do you get to enjoy it, or are you, like, lost in trying to make sure that shit works out? Or
fuck, man, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. So last year, since it was in one place and I was responsible for everything, I was, was at the venue from before it started till after it ended. And of course, I watched every band, and I had a old timer thing. And even when we ran a little bit late and over time, I was still like trying to give everybody their whole time slot. But I'm like, we got to make this happen in this time. Everybody was really good sports about it. So I got to see everyone play. This time, no fucking way, man.
Right.
I think, that's another thing I want to credit the guys, the organizational guys with is, they're also donating their time to be hanging at venues and kind of, we'll call it stage managing or show running. They're going to make sure, everybody gets on stage on time. And like, the big difference is that we have 5 bands or 5 acts per stage, which really is only one more act than a normal 4-band show.
Sure.
And there is nobody who's playing this who has never not done that show before.
4-band
they know how to make it run. Like, we probably don't have to have, because we didn't book any schlubs. I don't have any doubts about anybody that's playing this. They're all really, really good. They all exhibit, a level of professionalism, yeah, as much as I do. But James and Hardy and myself and a couple of the other people will be, there to make sure the shows run on time and things like that. And I will be running up and down the block like a chicken with my head cut off, making sure everybody's got wristbands. Is everybody loaded in? What's going on? How's it going? Do you need water? Do you need snacks?
I have to pee!
Exactly. Can I get you electrolytes? That kind of stuff.
You're going to be hungover tomorrow.
There are a few acts staked out that I'm going to make sure that I see, at least part of their set, because either I haven't seen them before or I haven't seen them in a long time. And
Name drop?
Sure. Skin Diet, Brujal del Sol, Sean Gardner, Cali Dreamer, Triceratops. Fuck yeah.
I love their picture there with the sandwich. That is so good.
The tiramisumatops.
That is so good.
Or Triceramasu. Yeah, something like that. Man, trying to get those boys to give me like a full-on group band picture was like pulling teeth. and then they started sending me these amazing like photos that I think it was Tucker, the vocalist. He's got him on his phone. He's just like texting them to me. And I was like, and then got to the Triceratops, and I was like, this one. This is what we're using. Fuck it. We tried to. So at the time of recording, Post Fest in Indianapolis is going on, and like how we kind of did a lot of the rollout stuff, like introducing bands and teasers and stuff. It's kind of how I see them doing it, and a bunch of other festivals doing. I was like, this got to be the way. So like, I needed these band photos, and last year was super easy. Everybody was on top of giving me shit. This year, everybody was just giving me shit.
Lackadaisical.
No. And I'm being very cynical about the whole thing. Everybody's wonderful, and is hoping that succeeds. But yeah, their picture is fun. I do want to see Triceratops. I haven't had the chance to see those boys with their current revival yet. Who else do I want to see? There's a bunch of shit I want to see. I'll probably see a third of it.
Just because that's the nature of time and space.
Exactly.
Unless you can be in the same place, at which point you're going to do much bigger things.
I do want to make a recommendation to the fine folk out there in Radio Land. Please, I think Wax Teeth, who's going to play at the Ace of Cups stage, are fucking awesome. And man, make sure you check out part of their set, because you will be happy you did so.
Okay. Well, tell you what, let's parlay all this lovable stuff into how do you feel about the Columbus music scene in general?
I love the Columbus music scene.
It shows.
Very much. There are there's many aspects of the Columbus music scene that I don't have any knowledge of or participate in. It's just true. I'm not a part of the jam scene. I'm not really a part of the jazz scene. I don't. There's a bunch of stuff that I don't interact with cross paths. I think our hip hop scene is great and it's growing, and there's guys out there like Trek Manifest and Joey H and people like Jay Esquire who are, and DeLorean Tape Deck, who are fucking unbelievable. And of course, got to give out shout out to the big heavy hitting Columbus homies in the hip hop scene, Blueprint, Illogic, and RGD2. And maybe one day we'll be able to have them on Blockout Bash.
I think that one day is next year. Are you listening?
And that's definitely something we want to branch out more into, is bringing a lot of those folks into the fold to play. I love the Columbus music scene. I think it's awesome. We have our problems, and I don't know, shit gets weird sometimes. It's difficult because there's limited places to play. I'm okay right now. Thank you though.
That was me offering him a beer.
Sometimes we, due to really unfortunate circumstances, we lose venues.
He said doo-doo.
I said due to, but whatever. We lose venues like the Big Room.
Sure.
It was a.
I'm also aggravated with that.
It's a loss.
Even though I could never get anybody to respond to me to book a fucking show there, but maybe that's more on me than them.
And that can we will touch on that too. If you're new to, if you don't have 20 years of experience booking in Columbus like I do, things can be frustrating because you don't know why nobody's getting back to you, but you don't know if you're actually talking to the right people.
Right.
And in this social media internet age, yeah, I'm a millennial. Part of me totally exists on the internet, but you still should get out into the world and meet people and talk to them, because that is one of the best ways to form actual connection.
For real happen.
Yeah. So if you're upset at this like weird caricature of a person, this booking person,
right,
and you have it in their head, and it's just like they're glowering and they're underlit like Boris Karloff, and they're just like and they've got the mannequin strings on puppet strings from their fingers, and like, I'm manipulating everything and fuck these people, and they're
I will not respond
whatever.
to you.
And then you meet them, and they are just a stressed out person who's trying their best to do their best for everybody. So get out and meet folks, because
that's the thing that, like, I'm going to do the easy thing and say the aggravating things because I love aggravation and anger. But also, I get fucking super pissed at the amount of emails that I get that are work-related that somebody pays me to fucking deal with. I can't imagine having a whole city's worth, let alone touring bands worth of people fucking emailing me daily.
Yeah.
And scrolling through that inbox. No thanks.
I'll be honest with you, dude. I have been that frustrated motherfucker, like, why isn't this guy getting back to me? What did I do wrong? Oh, man, fuck them. I'm just going to play these 3 places and not reach out and play else because nobody's getting back to me. And Columbus has a lot of bands, and there's a lot of people out there doing really good stuff that all want to do stuff at the same places. We have to be better about interacting and sort of coexisting with each other. You have to be patient with booking folks and follow up your emails. Send follow-up emails.
Yeah. Follow-up's not a thing you have to tell me about.
and go out and talk to folks. I think Columbus music is good, especially the moments I get really frustrated with it, and I'm like, oh man, it fucking sucks, blah blah blah, and I take it for granted. Then I've got friends who come in from out of town and to play a show, and they've good buddies of ours from Philly have played. I've booked them at Bourbon Street, booked them at Space Bar, booked them at Tree Bar, which RIP the Tree Bar, a bunch of places, and the bill is always a little diverse, and they always go, man, you have such like this vibrant thing. Your place is really cool. All these venues are neat. And we played with a bunch of, it wasn't just like 4 punk bands we played with, but everybody's really good. And I want to come back and I want to see these people again. And I want to do all this stuff. And I'm like, you are from Philly, dog. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, it's really different. And so I give our scene, the Columbus music and arts scene, a lot of credit for. It's not perfect, but it does a good job, and the people in it work. A lot of people in it work really hard to make it good, diverse, accepting, and like try to make it work together.
Sure.
And that's really important.
It is very important. And it's funny, like, I have, from my side of things, I have talked to people who are surprised about things in Columbus, and I'm not as embroiled in it as you are. So from my end of it, it's, you mean this isn't fucking normal? This is,
right.
It's just, I mean, sure. No, Doom Band today, weird synth pop thing tomorrow. Wednesday, I gotta sleep some fucking time. You can leave me alone.
Right.
It is a really good scene, and that's it's something that as I restarted this fucking podcast earlier this year, and kind of in conjunction with this, I want to start doing like a highlighting Columbus thing, maybe monthly. But this is a waste of fucking time. Please continue talking. As a matter of fact, I have another question.
Good, because I'm done with the Columbus scene question.
I'm done with fucking Columbus. Outside of talking to me at Sonic to set up this particular conversation, how did the other sponsors come about? Particularly Seventh Son, the other one being Music Columbus that I'm aware of. And then, side note, who do I need to find and or fight at Seventh Son to get them to start doing that pineapple wheat beer that they did a few years ago?
Okay, so Columbus has a lot of beer. A lot of local beer. A lot of really good local beer.
I just finished a local beer. I pulled it up and
I'm drinking one now.
I'm drinking a Czech beer right now. They're not local.
And you know, fucking half the people in the music scene work at the brew pubs or work for the breweries and shit like that. And it's great. Seventh Son is, one of those, like, Seventh Son is one of those OG, like, independent Columbus breweries. I love their product. I love the space. I love the brew pub. It's one of my favorite places to go hang out when I have the wherewithal to get out of my fucking neighborhood and go hang out someplace else. Their beer is awesome. Their product's great. They've always been into and around and supportive of stuff. They have supported a number of different music events over the years. I believe they did Midwest. No, I think at the time it was called Columbus Psych Fest. So they've had their fingers in it, and like I said, I love that beer. I love that kitty paw, that assistant manager, that scientist.
Put it in my face.
Very good, very good,
very good. Cumulus nimbus.
Yeah. And so I reached out, said, "Fuck it, what can it hurt?" I started sending emails,
fucking emails,
and they responded positively. Colin, I believe Colin is, the brains behind the whole operation. Good dude. Met him in person a couple of times, but this is kind of our first foray into a professional business venture thing, whatever. But he was, he was really responsive. He was also very forgiving because we were supposed to have an in-person meeting that I totally screwed up and some things happened and I didn't make it. I embarrassed myself. And I've
been drunk before too.
And so what's the thing where I threw myself at the mercy of this court. And I emailed him apologizing profusely because, he's a good dude and he was interested. So we made a deal, struck a deal on getting some beers. And throwing their name up on stuff. I believe if all comes together and works out right, Seventh Son will have some, people representing their brand at the bash, and there should be a Seventh Son banner flying over the Ace of Cup stage.
Oh man!
Had this whole idea. It kind of fell short, but I've been, love Seventh Son, so I've been pushing them. But I wanted a really good sponsor for each stage. We name each venue stage after them. So
I remember that in our original conversation.
I'm sorry, Colin. I kind of like lost that whole thing in the shuffle. But if you're listening to this podcast episode right now, the Ace of Cups stage is affectionately known in the inner circles as the assistant manager stage.
Also, Colin, if you're listening, I'm coming for you about that pineapple wheat beer.
You know what I want back? So I love Kitty Paw, but my favorite was the raspberry Kitty Paw, and they stopped making it. Probably for good reason. Probably because ingredients in raspberries can get kind of expensive to make a seltzer beer thing out of it. But god damn it, that shit was so good.
In summation, Colin, we love you. You're doing really great work,
Absolutely.
but you could also do better. Please do better.
So yeah, it was just email, and it was getting some stuff back, but it was having and I know I'm not alone in this. You have great ideas, and then the hardest part is actualization on it, and it is follow up.
Sure.
And like, I don't have Colin's direct email, and getting on LinkedIn or on the internet or whatever and trying to find a person to talk to isn't always the easiest thing to do. And when you go to a business website and they have a little contact thing down the very bottom of the webpage, and all it says is like, you put in
info
yeah, and then it sends it to info@7sun,
which goes directly to a spam folder.
Usually, but this one didn't, and I got an email back and that said, hey, we're gonna forward this on to the big man head in charge, and he emailed me back, and we had a conversation, and he agreed to do things that I asked, and that was that. And then it was talking to you at Sonic Temple, and you saying yes, and then us kind of like scrambling to put this together in the end, because we are stupidly busy people who struggle to keep our heads above water at times.
I can't swim.
That's why you have floaties. Come on, dog. But also,
I also have a pool.
Oh, and I'll just plug in the third partnership.
Sure, absolutely.
So I was sort of familiar with Music Columbus, but not familiar in the way I should be, because Music Columbus is a spectacular organization. I got a text message from Brian Ostrander, once again, the manager of Spacebar.
My guy, and a very responsive guy when it comes to booking. Thank you, Brian.
Ostrander is a true G, dog.
I think he hates me, though, because
really
I had to cancel a show, but whatever.
Whatever, it happens.
I still love you, Brian.
But it was either an email or text from him saying that Olivia, and I don't want to butcher your last name, so I'm not going to try right now.
Smith.
Olivia is in a band called Big Fat Head. And I guess she had reached out to Brian about Spacebar. A lot of people have been reaching out to Brian about Spacebar, and he's like, "Well, I didn't put this on. This is," and then they get shuffled off to me. So she sent me an email, very kind email, saying that she was, really excited about what we're doing, and yada yada yada, and if there's anything they could do to help, let her know. So I reached back out, and I was like, we're always looking for support, partnership, financial, donors, things like that, because we are putting this on with no budget. There was no money behind this.
To quickly pin in you here, I talked to Scott Lee of the New England Metal and Hardcore Fest last week.
I'm interested to hear the episode.
I asked him, why did you do this? Some version of that. And he said, don't do this. It's fucking it's fucking stupid. I had other people's money and time and effort, and it was still fucking stupid. Don't do this. So,
Scott, I have no money. If you want to send me the contacts for your sponsors, that will help me.
That would be great.
Like, pay for this, and and be able to, like, oh man, next year if I had financing and I could cover like decent sized bands guarantees and things like that. Buy tickets, come to the show, because all the money from all the money we get from these will go into putting it on next year.
That's an e-meet situation. I should have made it a point to ask a question about that, but I know that just inherently without even asking you that's what's fucking happening. This fest is fucking good, because this isn't a thing to make money off of. This is a thing to do things for bands. All the money's going to the bands. This is not my dude's not making money here.
No. Everything we get that
was the most concise answer he's had so far. And did you hear what it was? It was no.
True. So like, Music Columbus, like Olivia was, I didn't expect to hear from her the way I did. And, you know, I was like, you know, if you could, we would love to get financial help to help us shore up the last couple of things we need. She was great. Her team helped us out. But okay, more importantly, I'd like to go into what Music Columbus does.
Sure. Give us cliff notes.
If you go to their website, they have resources for musicians, musical artists, bands, how to get funding. They have links to the Greater Columbus Arts Council website where you can apply for grants. They have links to the Ohio Arts Council where you can apply for grants. They have links to other places that do loans, business loan type things for musicians, artists, people trying to who want to go forth and try to make some kind of living in the music and entertainment and arts industry. They also have resources for BMI and ASCAP, how to get your music licensed, how to publish, all this kind of stuff. And it's at your fingertips. They have taken all the resources, like stuff it took me years to learn about, then they've compiled it into one space. And there it is. And they're really good with answering questions. They have other resources for you, but if you are struggling to figure out how you want to put your music into the world and maybe get paid for it and make sure that you retain ownership of it, Music Columbus is a fucking amazing resource that can help you figure all that shit out.
Well, you told me. I'm going to see if they'll help with podcasts. I'm going to push pause real quick.
All right.
And we're back.
Yo.
So, Joel has just told us about his sponsors, Music Columbus, Seventh Son, and myself. I've just dropped a bottle opener. I'm definitely ready to start recording again. That's why we're talking. Joel, as you and I were just talking off air, you have two very good bands in Matter of Planets and Rooks, and you are a fucking excellent drummer, said from a bass player who would like to play bass along with your drums at some fucking point.
Word.
Why are none of your bands playing?
None of my bands are playing because I want to make sure that people understand that this is not about me, and this is not an excuse to put on a bash or a festival or a block party where my bands get to play and we get to be like rock stars and oh cool. Headlining. You know, maybe we'll get to that. Maybe we'll burn that bridge next year. I don't know. I mean, bands adjacent to me, like the Most Falcons are playing at Space Bar, and their drummer is in Matter. He plays guitar in Matter of Planets. So we're edging closer to that space, but I'm not ready to do that. I want people to understand that I am doing this for this and not for me.
The all-important I.
Yeah.
And also, you know, not for nothing, I'm willing to bet that you've got a fuck ton of things to think about day of, let alone playing the damn drums.
Yeah.
So, Joel, not only here, has put together these bashes, has booked any number of shows that he's talked about previously, plays the drums, again, exceptionally. He's a busy dude. He does a lot of cool shit. What has been completely left out of here, and what is my personal favorite aspect of him, is his artwork. Joel is an exceptional artist. It's, what is it, Sick Icarus Art?
Sick Icarus Art.
Again, links will be in there. Talk to me about your art for a minute. Let's plug this.
Man.
Because, again, this is my favorite aspect of all the shit that you do.
We'll do a little bit of a Spider-Man origin story here. I mean, I can track my...
Wait, did you have an Uncle Ben?
No. R.I.P. Uncle John. Sorry. Which is a real thing. When
I still laugh.
When I was a kid, my parents got me into... I learned to like read, write, and count playing D&D. Nerdly
read, write, and count.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to do a lot of that in that game, man. You got to roll them dice, you got to count them bones, you got to like add shit up, you got to take. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of. But I would sit and I mean, just pour over the monster manual, just like black and white illustrations of demons and monsters and shit. And if you go look at any of my art, oh wow, it's demons and monsters and shit.
Oh man.
so yeah, it goes back to that. And I started, lots of drawing at a young age through high school, went to Fort Hayes Arts, program, went to Columbus College for Art Design, graduated with a degree in illustration. And as I was going through, like, I was that era where we were still working in traditional media. There was still lots of painting and drawing and things like that. But there was the cusp that was going to digital, so we had to learn digital illustration programs. We had to start learning this. I mean, like, Photoshop had been in use for, I don't know, decades probably. But it wasn't as ubiquitous as it was becoming. So we had to start learning that stuff. And like, we're sitting there going, but we just want to draw. We just want to paint. Fuck this shit. I don't ever have to learn this stuff.
No,
oh my God,
the internet's fake.
How wrong could I fucking be?
Right.
But as I went through, originally I wanted to do comic books, and then I found out I wasn't really good at drawing the same thing over and over and over again.
That is a skill that is super fucking underrated.
Dude, and shout out to my homies who do that and do it very well.
Oh my God.
It's something that I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I wanted to be Frank Miller, but I can't do what Frank Miller does.
I'm not going to be able to draw the cheekbones in the same way every fucking time. His beard's not going to look the same every time.
Anatomy's a motherfucker.
Dude, it's not.
And poses are, and making things exist in space and replicating that and doing it sequentially is fucking crazy. So I was like, okay, well, large format. Well, you could do cover illustrations or interior illustrations for books, and like try to live on those kind of short contracts where you're throwing. I have friends who do it and do it very, very, very well and are successful by anyone's standards. But I have a great love for music and performance. I was a theater kid from time to time. Yeah, I love this shit, man. From
time to time.
Backstage, on stage, whatever, dude. It's all fucking cool. So I thought, well, I'd love to do illustration. I'd like to be an illustrator for live events. Originally, in school, it wasn't so much talking about rock music as it was talking about theater, ballet, kind of stuff like that. But then I had a band when I was towards the end of college called the Blue-Eyed Gunslingers. I was doing...
Is that a Stephen King thing?
Yeah.
My oldest kid is named... I don't care that I'm pronouncing it wrong. I think the rest of you are pronouncing it wrong, including the guy that wrote the book. My oldest kid is named Roland.
I think the company Roland would disagree with you.
You're all doing it wrong. It's Roland.
I mean, whatever. So I'm not like by any means Stephen King.
Named after that character.
I'm not a Stephen King fan. I'm also not a Stephen King hater. I just have never really gotten into Stephen King's material.
Those books are the shit.
There's a good friend of mine, Casey Ward, and I had a band called the Blue-Eyed Gunslingers. We started, I think, back when I was 20. I was in college, and so I started doing a lot of poster and flyer designs, and I was learning Photoshop and Illustrator and things like that. So I was working on our album and EP art, and I started to get better at these things. But yeah, it was really what I stepped out and wanted to do was, hey, I want to do posters. So graduated and started working for Promo West. At the time, it was just called Promo West. Now it's Promo West AEG.
I have made a fucking hardline stance in that Newport is Newport, and the other place is fucking Promo West. I'm not calling it whatever fucking sponsor it is now.
Oh no, that's what. No, I'm saying Promo West, the entity, the company.
Right, sure. I know that they've got a bunch of things.
It's going away. It will become AEG. AEG is in the process of totally buying it.
Sure, fine. It's all Promo West to me.
Yeah, sure.
Fuck you. You're making too much money anyways.
But I started as a poster design intern with Promo West back in the summer of 2007. I was with them.
So recently.
Yeah. I was with them until like 2009. If you've ever been to, they have a venue called the A&R Bar. I took all the poster art, curated it, framed it, and hung 90% of the stuff that's in that bar.
So you know old boy that works at Engine House.
Oh yeah, no, oh, absolutely. Mike Martin. Yeah, lots of Mike Martin and Clint Reno artwork.
That's a good name.
Early Miles Sang stuff. If you're familiar, yeah, Miles was a CCAD grad. He
no shit.
Yeah, Miles early stuff. I mean, Miles stuff now is fucking bananas.
He's like professional Sam Keith, where all his curlies are real fucking specific, and Sam Keith were just wild and fucking weird.
But I remember we had both done poster for the Dillinger Escape Plan, and it was at the basement. It was like my birthday, and we went, and Billy Reimer had just, I think that was his like first U.S. show with them. And he was really cool. He was young. He was like, man, he was our age. We were in our like early 20s. It was amazing. And Miles and I both went up to the office and we grabbed the posters that we made. His was very cool. Mine was cool too, but it was not. It was not as just like effortlessly brilliant as Miles' piece was, and that was really cool. And stuff that Miles does now is
penning this. I want you to connect me with him. I want to talk
Okay.
to him for the show.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be awesome. But you know, there was a lot of learning. There were a lot of new tools that were learned. And over the years, I have done many albums, hundreds, maybe 1,000 gig posters, flyers,
Really?
things. Yeah, loads,
including 2 for my band.
Yeah. I love it. It's the feeding the beast thing. And recently, I've been doing, everything starts in Sketchbook. I draw stuff, but recently I've been switching over to digital painting in Photoshop, and it has just kind of taken things to the next level. Especially the fact that I used to do more. I'm trying to get back to doing lots of screen printing, and the whole thing. We talked a little bit off air, but the print production and color separation, and I love all that shit. And in doing screen printing with it, I'd love to be able to get myself and my acuity with screen printing to the point where I can start just doing all these posters and printing them at home. I was really on that trajectory, and it got derailed for lots of life reasons over the years, but I'm trying to get back to it so I can take all this banana shit that I make and turn it into a product that I just make. So yeah, it feeds the beast. It's the I love music. Music is like is second to visual art. Visual art is the primary thing. It's always been the tip of the spear.
And see, this is kind of like an intersecting point for us, and a thing that we've talked about previously. We were both friends with Brian Ewing, and God love him and miss him and all those fun
Rest
things.
in power, brother.
Sure. And, we're in a room surrounded by fucking weird ass art, and a house surrounded by weird ass Brian Ewing fucking mostly related art. Like, I love all that shit and can't encourage it enough, and that's why I wanted to make sure that this got fucking brought up here. Because
right on. Thank you.
Your fucking shit is really cool.
Man, it was cool. Like, the last couple of years, connecting with him and really talking with him about, what he does and how he does what he does. I mean, we were friends and he was tattooing me and stuff, but it was also, man, nerding out and talking shop about poster production and illustrations and all this dumb shit that we loved, and that, he was like loved by hundreds of thousands of people around the world for. Man. Like, it's just badass. People kind of like call one of the masters my friend and pick his brain about this shit whenever I wanted.
Like, I still get like the little goosebumps and stuff thinking about him, because he was like,
for the listeners, I know we kind of jumped into this real quick, but it is important to give a little context here. Brian Ewing was a long-standing American illustrator, gig poster artist, man of many talents. But
if you listen to this show, I hope you know him, because he's been on here 3 fucking times.
Right. And he was an amazing mentor, tattooist, really, really good friend, a wonderful wry sense of humor, and man, he very witty dude.
And has been celebrated here constantly.
Yeah. I miss my friend a lot.
Sure,
so.
Man. He's a good dude, and all the missing stuff. Give me the back of the book version of Blockout Bash.
Okay.
To your liking.
Blockout Bash is a new arts and music festival in Columbus that will be one day, Saturday, August 24th, in the Old North block between Hudson and Doddridge in Columbus. It is 30 acts over 6 venues. The venues are Dirty Dungarees, the laundromat and punk venue, Space Bar, the rock bar, Bossy Girl pinup joint, the burlesque bar, Records Per Minute, aka RPM, the record store, Old North Arcade, the Wonderful Barcade, and Ace of Cups, the true heavy-hitting venue of the block. We're going to have... do you mind if I go through the actual lineup for each stage?
Roll it.
I'd like to do that. So everybody knows it's going down. All right, we're going to start with Old North Arcade. We have a lineup of a bunch of great DJs that will be on the back patio. Excuse me. First is Rip, Roaring Lauren. Then we got DJ Dynamo and Mimi Drumette. And then we have Citizen Dorian S. And to round it out is Halcyon, which is the duo of DJ Uncle Mose and DJ Darcy. On the RPM stage, we have Marvin the Robot to kick things off. I guess I should do times too now. David Watson following that, doing some controlled experimental noise stuff. And then we have the great Sam Stansfield coming down from Dayton to play our thing. Then we have Fatal Gaze, which is also a part of the Static Mondays, as well as that David Watson is as well. They'll be doing, experimental controlled noise stuff. It should be really good. And to round that venue out, we have Sean Gardner and a microphone and a guitar to close that stage. Like I said earlier, one of my favorite things in the whole fucking world.
Round it out again with the venue.
That will be the Records Per Minute stage.
Next venue
is Dirty Dungarees. To start, we'll have Pickpocket. Feed will follow them. Third, I love this band name, Goblin Smut. And then we have the legendary Columbus's own Triceratops. And then to close, we'll have Pillars coming down from Cleveland to melt everybody's face.
Again, let's round this out with the venues each time. What's that venue?
Dirty Dungarees.
That's the laundromat.
Yeah.
Close
All
clean.
right. So next, the Space Bar stage. To open up, we have Neil. Following that is Aaron, Plain and Tall. After that is The Most Falcons. Not the least, but The Most Falcons. Then we have Surfer. And then to close the Space Bar stage is Pale Gray Lore. We are moving on to Bossy Girl. To open Bossy Girl will be Leechwife. Following that is currently TBA. We had an artist pull out for various reasons. They're great. We love them. Maybe we can circle back next year.
Sit down.
Third will be Cali Dreamer.
Whose song you will hear soon.
Fourth is Seagull Died on Impact. Another part of the Static Mondays noise crew. They also include a violin in their setup. Shit should be pretty wild. Closing that stage is Electrocult Circus. Closing the Bossy Girl pinup joint stage.
Well done.
And finally, we get to Ace of Cups. Skin Diet will be opening. Mezclado will be second. Wax Teeth will be third.
Whom he has mentioned previously.
Friendship Commander from Nashville. A kind of heavy, spacey duo. Will be playing fourth. And then to close the whole fest will be Bruja del Sol.
Bruja del Sol.
And that is Ace of Cups.
Ace of Cups.
Yeah.
That gets us through everything. And now that we've done a bunch of informative and Columbus-loving stuff, we're going to do some stupid for the sake of stupid stuff because this is my fucking show, and that's...
We're going to hate on Atlanta?
That's the only thing... Nobody knows that.
Atlanta, I don't hate you.
I hear your traffic's terrible, so
Macon is a totally different story, though.
I hear your traffic's terrible, so I do fucking hate you. We're going to do some rapid fire stuff here. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to ask you as we're going through it. The one that will never leave this thing because it's important to me.
Okay.
Is coffee or tea?
Coffee.
You're fucking right.
Fuck yeah.
I could, you've seen me pound through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beers since we've been sitting here.
Yeah. I'm on my second.
I could stop these fucking things right now.
Me too.
If you told me that it was coffee or beer, that should be the question: coffee or beer.
No, I mean,
you can only have one for the rest of your life.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee.
No, coffee.
Coffee.
Absolutely. Anyways, what's something you could eat for a week straight?
Chicken breasts.
Okay. This is another question I'm starting to think of. I started talking about this with Scott last week, in that I keep thinking I should phase this question out, but I keep getting really interesting answers to it. So, no pressure. Beatles or Stones?
Beatles.
Okay. Elaborate.
So as much as I like the Stones, I don't know, they're the lowest tier of like that whole era. So I take the Beatles and the Stones and Led Zeppelin and the Who, and I kind of remove the Beatles. I think the Beatles are a little bit outside of their, to use video game parlances, they're sort of they're S tier. Much like there are a lot of bands that I feel that way. When you start to build top 10 lists and stuff, there are bands and artists that I think are outside, above and beyond godlike. I think the Beatles are ultra important in the generation, how music is made now, how it's played, how people think about it. I know that there's a lot of people out there who hate the Beatles, and to each their own. I like the Stones.
You're welcome to be wrong, yes.
But the Stones just don't do it for me in the same way that the Beatles do, or that the fucking Who does. And I will take the Who on most any of those fucking Pepsi challenges, dog.
Well, okay, sure, but that's
See, we get into the nuances of like, what are these bands, what do they mean, and how.
That's also probably in no small part because of the drummer, from a drummer's perspective.
Oh, God,
because you take the three bands and who's got the best drummer? It's the fucking Who.
you know, like some people would crucify us for that. I mean, like John Bonham is, to people is the greatest thing of all time, and I love Neil Peart, but I don't really like Rush.
Sure, yeah. I've got this fucking weird thing where here's a tangent everybody saw coming. I can't sit, like, I create them for the podcast page. I cannot sit and watch a reel. I will not fucking do TikTok. I'm not doing, like, I'll scroll through stories, but if it's not, I've got a problem with sitting there and watching videos. There's just something with the act of sitting there and looking at my phone at something that I can't go through at my own fucking pace that bothers me. I've recently realized that it's kind of similar to putting your hands under the automatic wash basin or thing, and it doesn't actually work, and you just feel stupid sitting there moving your shit around. It's the same feeling for me for whatever reason. All that said, if I'm scrolling through and I see Ron from Mastodon playing the drums, I will stop. I will watch that fucking video. And a buddy of mine sent me Eloy.
Yes.
Trying to learn what, like, holy fuck, dude.
Eloy Casagrande is one of the greatest drummers on the face of the planet.
And watching that dude literally sweat trying to sort that song out. Ron's fucking weird off snare shit.
Well, and did you see how Bron's like review and him give him love at the end of the video?
Sure.
It was so amazing.
It also felt very casual in that, good job.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
play those Slipknot songs, buddy.
If for quick reference, go look up Eloy Casagrande Modern Drumming Festival 2008 and watch his solo piece. It is fucking insane.
Dude is nuts.
And then he did a Drumeo piece in this whole, because all the Drumeo videos they do together, one of the things they had him do was he broke down that 2008 Modern Drummer solo and recreated it. And he's like critiquing himself. He's like, well, that should have been like this, part of Latin music, but I did it backwards, so I'm going to do it for you right now and all the shit. Like, Eloy's the best. And I don't like Slipknot. It's on record.
Noted.
But Eloy Casagrande is one of the greatest.
He was the right choice.
All time. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He was the right choice. He's sure. So from great and amazing to stupid, if you could ask one animal, one question, what's the animal? What's the question?
I would ask dolphins if our planet was actually doomed. And they would say, so long and thanks for all the fish.
I got you. See, this is why I want to fucking take notes, because I want to write down stupid shit like that. Candy corn, yay or nay?
Yay.
Fucking yes.
Yeah, I like to make it. I like to make vampire canines out of it too, and I stick it upside down.
I like to eat it by the handful.
Oh, dude, I love it. I like to also, at each piece, I try to bite it along the colored lines into a segment, so I'm eating each separate segment in my mouth.
You are leaning hard into the weird artist thing. Beer.
I also love black jelly beans.
You lost me there hard. I do love jelly beans, though. There's a 30 Rock reference here that I'm going to go ahead and leave alone. Beer or liquor?
Beer.
Okay. I'm going to concur. Because I can see your reaction and know that you're not Googling it. What is the capital of New York?
Albany.
Good fucking job out of you.
Thank you.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
If I had a superpower, it would be telekinesis.
I'm gonna stop asking that question because that's everybody's answer.
Well, I mean, because it does everything.
Sure.
You can essentially you can move things with your mind, which means you can move yourself, which essentially means you can fly.
I need to rephrase it too. If you had like a banal superpower, what would it be? Like,
okay,
I could go 4 days without pooping type thing.
Oh man. Well,
like,
I wish I had a superhero power that would allow me to know when something's about to break on my car, or my vehicle well before it does.
Okay, sure. There you go. We're going to go ahead and lean into that. I am going to change that, and that is officially the question. Scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at keeping secrets?
8.5.
Good deal. Go-to karaoke song.
I don't have one. I don't do karaoke. I am awful at it.
I don't either, but I have an answer to it, so you have to answer.
Okay.
For reference,
shit, man.
Mine would be Fairweather Friends, Queens of the Stone Age off like.
Okay. Oh man, that's a good one. I don't know. I'd probably get up there with my boy Harris and do whatever Backstreet Boy song he wants to do.
Nice,
because he's got moves and like a whole fucking thing.
I love. Everybody loves moves.
Yeah.
Sausage links or patties?
Ooh. Well, I love making breakfast sandwiches, so I'm gonna go with patties.
Patties, right? You, Joel Chastain, drummer of Matter of Planets, Rooks, founder of the Blockout Bash, artist extraordinaire at Sick Icarus Art. You get sent to an island by yourself. The rest of your life, you get to take one album with you. What's the album?
I actually have this answer.
It looked like you were ready for it.
Because I asked this question, except it's 5. Mezzanine by Massive Attack.
Okay. I have not had that answer yet. I'm going to go through a ramble here that I'm definitely going to get on the first try. And wrapped in it is a question. Let's see if I can pull this off. At this point, I'd like to say thanks to Joel here. If you're in Columbus and you're not going to Blockout Bash, I'm going to go ahead and say that you are fucking doing it wrong. Check out his art as well. Again, Sick Icarus at that's Sick Icarus Art at Instagram. Fuck you. You know what Instagram is. The link will be in the thing. Other than all that, I'll see you there August 24th at one of those fucking random ass places. Thanks as always to Brimming Horn for providing the discount code related to the podcast and letting me say dumb stuff in relation to them. All of the relevant social links to the podcast, Blockout Bash, Joel's Art, and Brimming Horn will be in the show description. Wherever you're listening to this from, please hit the subscribe button so that you can get this stuff for free, because I couldn't imagine trying to charge you for this. Other than that, I've got the one last previous question there for you here, Joel. We've got Manifesto from Skin Diet and a Cali Dreamer song coming up. What made you want to focus on these two?
Cali is such a unique, cool, creative force. The blending of genres while having a defined identity is something that people try very hard to do, but often do not succeed at. Cali succeeds overwhelmingly. It just has a boatload of music out there. I mean, the catalog's wide and long and tall and thick, and I think that everybody should be into it. And I remember the first time I saw Cali, I had booked Cali for off-ramp at Comfest. And just, this young, skinny kid came out and did kind of a electronica rap set. I thought that was really cool. Where they are at now is fucking crazy. Check their music out. Skin Diet. So Skin Diet's kind of a funny story. I didn't know that these guys were trying to do a new project. What I initially went for was I was trying to get a Barely Eagle reunion to happen. Barely Eagle was a band that had most of these dudes in it. It's great, weird, arty, rock, sleazy. It's so good. You have to listen to Barely Eagle. But that didn't quite work out. And so Ricky from Barely Eagle, who basically told me no, on the Barely Eagle thing. Ricky has a dark Appalachia band called Suffering Praying Hands. He did a bunch of stuff. I think the first time I saw him and Tom in a band that made me want to be in bands was...
I actually didn't wear my Suffering Praying Hands shirt for this because I thought that this band meant that they're not a thing anymore.
No, I think it's still a thing.
Oh, I love Suffering Praying Hands so much.
But they when I was a very young man, they had a band called Go Evil Sheiky, and I remember seeing Go Evil Sheiky for the first time and being like, "Wow, so this is I could do this. This is what being bands like. This is fucking dope." So I wanted to be in bands. So it's Tom Butler, it's Ricky Thompson, Randy. Can't remember your last name off the top of my head, but Randy was in a great band called Lord Warfin. Lord Warfin was incredible. All those guys are off doing other really cool shit in other bands. And Bill has been in a number of bands with Tom and Ricky as well. So they have something new. It's called Skin Diet. I want to feature them because the Barely Eagle thing didn't happen, but this is new, and this will be their first show, the first time people hear their new music, and they're fucking awesome. So like, come out, do the thing, you stay for the rest of the show. You know, come for the beer, stay for the music.
Come for the music, stay for the beer.
Yeah,
whatever fucking works. Joel, it's been great.
Yeah.
High five for this video.
High five.
See you, bye. Listen to Skin Diet and Cali Dreamer. Come see us in Columbus.
Toodles.
We have thoughts about you.
Selfish